Hey there, this is John Barton. So I'm going to show you real quick how to load this case. This is the 2x5 slash 3x4. So typically when you load this case, you do not want all of your thickest parts in the same space. So you don't want the bumpers and the joints to be in the same space there, because that's going to be the thickest, tightest tightest configuration. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple different ways to load this that I recommend. And as I said, you can put it in this way, but that's going to be the hardest to put in and the hardest to take out. Okay, so the typical way of loading this is simply this: butts on the side right here, like this. Okay. And what I do is I put them up against the wall and then in. And then for the middle one, you'll want to take it and put it in like this. So this is what it'll look like when you go the middle. That's 3 butts inside. Now for the shafts, you want to go tip in. So 1 tip here, 1 here, one here, and 1 here. This is the most efficient way of loading and using this case. As you can see right there. Okay, that is basically all joints up, so to speak, right there for that one. Now, if you want to go the other way with it, now remember, when you do this, you should also take a shaft out first. That relieves the tension. So if you want to pull, for example, that middle butt out right there, you would just pull that out like that. So to reverse everything, you would do it like this. I would put the shafts in first, like this, if you prefer it to be tips up, for example. So here's one configuration. So this is tips up with the outside joints up, and then the middle one is going to be down. And you'll feel when you do that it gets real tight right there, but that's a way to do that, because now again we've got all the thickest parts in the same space, but it's down at the bottom to be that way. Now what you can do is you can reverse this, and you can have 2 butts with joints up, tips up, and then the middle one bumper up, so joint down. So that's a configuration that you can have. You can have it like this: tips up, bumpers up, so this is the opposite of the first configuration that I showed you. This is tips up and bumpers up, and that is a nice efficient way of doing it, because it means that your parts are offset, and they're not all the thickest parts aren't in the same space. Okay, so now doing it the way that you want to do it with the bumpers, this one's going to be tougher. So I really recommend, joints up on this, because it's easiest to reach in and grab your cues and do it. Now if we do this with the bumpers down on here, this is what you're looking at. I'm going to leave this out because I'm going to show you that you're going to need to put the cue in first, right through the center. And I'm going to leave these a little higher because it's going to be much harder to get these out. I do not recommend that you do it this way, okay? You can see how I'm struggling with it just as it is right here. Okay? But this is how this works. So you have the space in here, and I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down so you can see that, how it works. So you push it in. Now everything fits, okay? It fits. It pushes it out of the way. It fits, but it's really tight because all the thickest parts are in the same space, as I'm showing you right here. The hole is right there. So what happens is it will push it out, and you can hear it. That is the tightest possible way of putting these together. Okay, so if you look at it right like that, that is the tightest way, because everything's tight right in here because there's extra padding in there. So that is the way that I do not recommend that you do it. However, if you want to do it, you should leave it in there and let it sit so it presses out that foam rubber as much as possible, flattens it out, and it will get a little bit easier as you go. But I really don't recommend that you do it that way. Now, so I'm going to use this to pull a shaft out so I can loosen up the tension. Now I want to be clear that if you do it the opposite of what I just showed you, this way, if you do this with tips up here, then what happens is now the tension is looser, and now you can get to each of these parts without any problem. And you can do some, if you wanted to, you could do like one tip down or whatever, but this is actually the best and most efficient way of doing this. So this is what it looks like here. And when I say best, I mean if you definitely want these to be up, okay? But I don't recommend it. So either this way or the exact opposite of this is the easiest and most efficient way to put your cues in our cases. And then now to get it out here, you would reach in and put your finger in. I always take a shaft out first, okay, to do this. So I like to take a shaft out, and that way it relieves the tension. Now I've got space to put my hand in here, and I can get my finger around it, you know, and I can put some tension on there and pull. Show you what that looks like. See how I reach in? I reach in and get my finger there, and I kind of press my thumb on the side and pull up. So you can do that on any one of these. And now let me show you the easiest way really to do this, okay? If you just simply do it like this, you're going to be good to go forever, okay? Do it this way, and you'll find that this is the easiest possible way to use this case. Put your tips in this way, and then this actually doesn't, you know, it does at this point it doesn't matter whether your tips are up or down, but you can reach in and easily grab your parts and pull up on it. So even if you have joint protectors, you can get a hold of it and pull up, so it's no problem. And you can get your tips easily like that, pull up, and you're good to go. So there you go. And this case, by the way, is brand new, so it's going to be the tightest that it will ever be right now. Are you recording me?
No.
Oh. So this right here is the best way to do it, in my opinion. That's the easiest way to do it right there. You got everything where the tension is perfectly balanced, and you should be good to go. Now, what I do not recommend is that you pull a cue up between those shafts, because here's what happens. They go out and then they spring back in, so you got a little bit of extra tension right there. So it won't hurt the cue or anything, but it'll have a little tink sound. But I recommend that you do that. If you want, you can do it. A lot of people do this. They'll put it in this way, which is your joints up on the sides and then joint down in the middle. So you can definitely do that if you'd like. But there you go. That's it. That's my quick tutorial on how to load the 2x5 case. There you go.